Hey, little dreamers. Welcome back to Cozy Corner Tales, the channel where bedtime feels like a warm hug and every story takes you somewhere magical. Don't forget to snuggle in, grab your favorite stuffed animal, and let your imagination soar. Tonight's tale is about a very special journey. Are you ready? Let's go. Once upon a cloudy afternoon, a quiet child named Nora sat by her bedroom window, tracing raindrops as they slid down the glass. She was 9, thoughtful, and often felt like her dreams were bigger than the world around her. She loved books filled with dragons, glowing forests, and secret doors, places where anything was possible. The rain tapped gently, like a lullaby, and the wind outside began to hum. But this wind wasn't like the others. It seemed to whisper her name. Nora, come find me. She blinked. Who said that? She whispered, standing up. The wind blew again, lifting a corner of her storybook that had been left open on the floor. The pages fluttered, glowing faintly. Nora stepped closer. As she reached to touch the glowing page, her bedroom suddenly shimmered and swirled like a snow globe being shaken. Whirl. Whoosh. In the blink of an eye, Nora found herself standing barefoot in a soft meadow filled with sky-blue grass. Above her, the clouds danced in slow spirals. Trees had silver leaves that chimed like bells in the breeze. Tiny winged creatures flitted past her ears, giggling like little stars. Where am I? She breathed. A tiny squirrel wearing glasses popped its head out from a mushroom house nearby. Oh, you must be the child from the other side. We've been waiting for you, he squeaked. Me? Nora asked, her eyes wide. Yes. Only a child of pure heart can find the lost key of Everwhim. It's the only way to return home, the squirrel said, adjusting his glasses. You've begun your quest of the 3 wonders. Nora's knees felt wobbly. Wait, what's Everwhim? And what's the quest? The squirrel, who introduced himself as Professor Thistlewhip, led her to a flower that bloomed like a lantern. Inside it was a shimmering map. You must collect 3 wonders: the feather of light, the raindrop song, and the laughing stone. Only when you gather all 3 will the gateway home appear. Nora swallowed hard. And where do I find them? Ah, said Professor Thistlewhip with a wink. That's the adventure. A soft wind swirled around Nora again. It carried the scent of wildflowers and whispered once more. Courage, little dreamer. Your story has begun. Nora took a deep breath and stepped into the glowing path ahead. The adventure she always dreamed of was real, and it had chosen her. Nora followed the glowing path into a forest where the trees were tall and twisting, their bark shining like moonlight. Fireflies danced in the air, lighting the way with soft golden glows. Professor Thistlewhip walked beside her, holding a tiny lantern made from a walnut shell. The first wonder, he said, lies in the nest of the Sky Mother. We must climb the cloud ladder. Cloud ladder? Nora asked. Professor Thistlewhip pointed ahead. Through a gap in the trees, a wide river shimmered. Rising from its center was a ladder made of mist, stretching all the way into the sky. It didn't sway or disappear. It just waited. Nora gulped. I'm afraid of heights. The professor gave her a gentle smile. Even brave hearts feel afraid, but courage is choosing to climb anyway. Nora nodded slowly. Okay, let's go. The ladder was soft beneath her hands, like holding cold cotton candy. She climbed carefully, higher and higher, as the wind tickled her cheeks and clouds floated around her like sleepy sheep. Below her, the forest looked like a patchwork quilt of green and silver. Finally, they reached the top. It was not sky, but a floating island. Soft clouds made up the ground, and huge feathered trees swayed gently in the air. In the center stood a nest big enough for a dragon to nap in. Inside, a glowing feather shimmered with golden light. Suddenly, a gust of wind circled them, and a great bird with wings like stained glass soared down. Her feathers sparkled in the sun. Her voice echoed like a lullaby. Who dares enter my nest? Asked the Sky Mother. Nora stepped forward, her voice small but steady. I need the feather of light to return home. The Sky Mother tilted her head. Many ask, but few are kind. What will you give in return? Nora thought. She reached into her pocket and pulled out her favorite pebble, a smooth, heart-shaped stone her mom had given her on a sad day. This is my comfort. I give it to you with hope. The Sky Mother's eyes softened. A gift from love, offered with love. She bent her head and let one glowing feather fall. Take it, child of courage. May its light guide you. Nora caught the feather gently. It was warm and hummed softly in her hand. The professor clapped his tiny paws. One wonder found. 2 more to go. They slid down the cloud ladder, laughing as if the wind was tickling their toes. Back in the meadow, the map glowed brighter and showed a shimmering lake with musical ripples. Next, said Thistlewhip, we must find the raindrop song. Nora nodded. The sky above shimmered as if the stars themselves were watching. Her heart felt lighter than air. That's the singing lake, whispered Thistlewhip. The raindrop song lives at its center, hidden beneath the water. Nora listened closely. The song made her feel peaceful, like curling up in a blanket during a storm. But how do we get to the middle? You'll need to listen not with your ears, but with your heart, said the professor. The lake only reveals its path to those who truly hear. Nora knelt by the shore and closed her eyes. She slowed her breathing, letting the song wrap around her like a lullaby. For a moment, she heard nothing else, not the rustling trees, not the birds, not even her own thoughts. Then, she saw it. From the shore, a path of stepping stones began to glow not with light, but with sound. Each step hummed a note, soft and clear. She stood up carefully and placed her foot on the first stone. It sang a single bell-like tone, then the next, then the next. With every step, the song grew more beautiful, as if the lake was welcoming her. In the center of the lake stood a crystal lily pad, and upon it floated a single drop of water, held in the air like a bubble. It shimmered with every color of the rainbow. That's the raindrop song, said the professor, awed. But be gentle, it's alive with memory. Nora reached out carefully. The drop hovered to her fingertips, and as it touched her skin, she heard the laughter of her baby brother, the voice of her mom singing her to sleep, the tap of rain on the car window during long drives, all her warmest memories, wrapped in sound. Her eyes filled with tears, not from sadness, but from remembering how loved she was. The drop melted into a tiny pendant, which fastened itself around her neck. The melody echoed once more, then faded. Suddenly, the lake shifted. The sky darkened just a little, and a hush fell over the land. Thistlewhip's ears twitched. We've been noticed. From the forest edge, a shadow moved, a tall figure with eyes like cold glass and a cape of smoke. You're getting close, little traveler, the shadow said. But the last wonder won't be so easy. Nora stepped back. Who are you? The shadow bowed mockingly. I am the keeper of lost paths, and the laughing stone is mine. Before she could speak, the shadow vanished, leaving behind a swirl of leaves and a single sharp laugh. Thistlewhip looked uneasy. We must be careful. The keeper guards sorrow. He'll try to make you forget why you began. Nora placed a hand on her heart, where the drop pendant still glowed. He can try, she whispered, but I remember. And with that, they turned toward the final path. The sky above Everwim had changed. It was still beautiful pink clouds and floating butterflies, but something felt quieter now, like the world was holding its breath. Nora and Professor Thistlewhip followed a path that curled through the trees, leading them toward the mountains of Echo. The laughing stone is hidden in the Valley of Echoes, Thistlewhip said softly. It's a place where laughter is rare and precious. Nora tightened her grip on her feather and touched the raindrop pendant at her chest. She was tired, but something inside her, something brave, was shining like a lantern in the dark. They reached the edge of the valley just as the wind began to moan. The land below was gray and silent. No birds, no bugs, not even the sound of leaves. It felt like even joy had forgotten to visit. In the center of the valley stood a pedestal made of polished stone. Atop it was a small, strange rock that shimmered faintly. Nora could feel it, the laughing stone. She stepped forward, but before she could take another step, the shadow returned, the keeper of lost paths. He rose from the ground like a storm cloud, his cloak trailing mist, his voice colder than ice. "You've come far, little dreamer," he said, "but not far enough. The laughing stone doesn't laugh for just anyone." Nora stood tall. "I'm not afraid of you." The keeper smiled, but it wasn't kind. "Then let's play. If you can make me laugh, the stone is yours. But if you fail, you stay here, forgotten." The world seemed to darken. Nora's throat felt tight. She looked at the stone, then at the shadow. How could she make someone like him laugh? She thought of all the funny things in her life, her brother's spaghetti mustache, her dad's silly dance moves, the time she wore mismatched shoes to school and didn't notice all day. She tried to tell a joke, but her voice came out dry and shaky. The keeper didn't laugh. Then, from behind her, Thistlewhip hiccuped, loudly. Nora blinked. Then he sneezed and tumbled backward into a pile of mushrooms, his glasses flying off and landing in a cup of moss tea. For a moment, everything was still. Then Nora started laughing. Not because it was polite or expected, but real, full-bellied giggles that bubbled up from somewhere warm. The valley began to echo. Her laugh bounced off the mountains and spun in the air like music. The clouds broke open, letting in light. The keeper stepped back, surprised. The laughter touched him. It wasn't forced. It was joy. He chuckled. Once, then again. He laughed. Truly laughed. And as he did, his shadow melted, and his cloak of smoke turned to feathers. He shrank down into a bird, free at last. "Thank you," the bird said with a bow. "I had forgotten how to laugh." The laughing stone pulsed with warm color. Nora stepped forward and picked it up. It felt like sunshine in her hand. As soon as she touched it, the three wonders began to glow: the feather, the raindrop, and the stone. The map fluttered open, now shimmering with golden lines. A star appeared on its center. "The gateway," whispered Thistlewhip. Nora smiled. "It's time to go home." The wind in Everwim turned gentle again, like a mother's hush. Nora held the three wonders carefully: the feather of light, the raindrop song, and the laughing stone, and followed the glowing path, now leading to the center of the map. "The gateway only opens when the heart is full," said Professor Thistlewhip, his eyes misty. "And you, dear Nora, your heart shines like the dawn." They came to a wide hill covered in starflowers, each petal blinking like tiny lights. At the very top stood a tree like no other. Its bark shimmered silver, and its branches reached the clouds. Instead of leaves, it had stars gently swaying on each limb. "The Stargate tree," whispered Thistlewhip. "Place your wonders there, and the path home will appear." Nora walked slowly, the grass humming under her feet. She climbed the last steps to the base of the tree. A small platform waited beneath the lowest branch, carved from moonstone. She took a deep breath. First, she placed the glowing feather. It sparkled and rose into the air, settling on a branch, where it pulsed like a second sun. Next, she unclasped the raindrop pendant. It floated gently, then turned into mist, rising like a song and curling around the trunk. Lastly, she set the laughing stone down. As it touched the platform, it cracked open, not broken, but blooming. Inside was light, bright, wild, full of joy. It danced up the branches and tickled the stars. The tree shivered not from cold, but from magic. Its roots glowed, and the stars above it began to fall slowly, circling Nora in a quiet spiral. Then came the door. It was shaped like a teardrop and lit from within. It shimmered with every color Nora had seen in Everwim's: sky blue, whispering gold, sunrise pink, and laughter silver. On it was her name, written in soft, glowing letters. Professor Thistlewhip stood beside her, hat in paw. "This is where you choose. Step through, and you'll return to your world. Stay, and Everwim becomes your forever." Nora looked at the door, then at the stars, then at the professor. "I'd miss you," she said. "I'd miss you too," he said. but you'd carry Everwim inside you. Always. Nora took a deep breath. Her heart beat with love, courage, music and laughter. I'm ready. She hugged Professor Thistlewhip tight. Thank you, she whispered. For what? He asked. For helping me remember who I am. She stepped into the doorway. There was light. Warm, soft, swirling light. She felt wind in her hair and stars in her chest. Then the scent of her room, the hum of her world, and her mom's voice. Nora? You fell asleep with the book again. Nora blinked. She was in her bed. The fairy tale book lay open beside her. The room was quiet, but her heart was still glowing. In her hand, curled against her pillow, was something small and warm. A feather. Morning sunlight spilled through the curtains, wrapping Nora in golden warmth. She stretched, yawned, and blinked at the book resting on her chest, A Journey to a Fairy Tale Land. The pages were still open to a glowing illustration of the Stargate tree. Was it all a dream? She sat up slowly and touched her neck. The raindrop pendant was gone. The laughing stone gone too. But lying beside her on the pillow, soft and shining, was a single feather. It sparkled faintly, even in daylight. Nora smiled. Downstairs, the smell of pancakes floated up. She jumped out of bed and padded to the kitchen, her feet warm on the wooden floor. Her mom stood at the stove, humming a tune that sounded like raindrops. Sleep well? Her mom asked with a smile. Nora nodded. I went on a big adventure. Her mom laughed softly. Oh yeah? There was a squirrel professor, a singing lake, and a tree that grows stars, Nora said, grabbing a fork. And a shadow who forgot how to laugh, but I helped him remember. Her mom kissed her forehead. Sounds like a magical dream. But Nora knew it wasn't just a dream. It was more. Everwim had been real. Maybe not in the way everyone else understood, but real in her heart. Later that day, Nora sat beneath her backyard tree with a notebook. She began to draw the singing lake, the raindrop song, Thistlewhip's big ears, the silver-barked tree. As she sketched, a breeze brushed her cheek. For a moment, it smelled like sugargrass and starlight, and then, a tiny giggle. She looked up. Perched on the fence was a squirrel in a little blue coat, his glasses slightly crooked, holding a tiny umbrella. He winked. Nora blinked, then laughed a deep, true laugh that filled the whole yard. Thank you, she whispered. The squirrel tipped his hat and vanished. Nora clutched the feather gently. The map inside her heart was still glowing. Everwim hadn't vanished. It had come home with her. And that was A Journey to a Fairy Tale Land. Did you feel the magic too? Let us know in the comments what your 3 wonders would be if you visited Everwim. Don't forget, magic is real when you're kind, brave, and full of wonder. If you enjoyed this cozy adventure, tap that like button and hit subscribe for more dreamy bedtime stories every week. Click the bell so you never miss a tale, because bedtime is the best time for magic. Until next time, sweet dreamers, keep your heart open, and you just might find a feather on your pillow. Good night, and remember, you are more magical than you know.